It's what?
I said Malcolm alleged that some of Elijah's women were underage secretaries, and can you expound on that?
Yeah, well, I guess they were because they were there. I seen them. I seen them myself. It's all true. It's all true.
Good evening, messenger. You convinced us that you were the last messenger. How many other bastard children do you have?
At least 15. Barbershop conversation, guys. Feel free, hit the subscribe button. We got Bob Arum coming in. I'm going to call him right now, and we'll get it popping. And click the link, 9 Wise Below, man. Award-winning film.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated...
Let's see. There we go. Hey, Bob, how you feeling?
Okay, good.
Hey, I totally appreciate you getting back to me, man. Saturday night, man. What a night. 14,000 people in there, man.
No, we only could fit in 11,500. So that was
11,000.
Every seat was filled. It was a complete sellout.
Mm-hmm. And how proud are you of that? Because last time it was a half a stadium with Jeff Horn. Wasn't it Joe Horn? Jeff Horn. I'm thinking of the wide receiver. And now he has increased to a sellout.
Yeah, well, again, I don't remember how many people were at the Jeff Horn fight, but there was a pretty good crowd. But this was outstanding. You can't do better than to sell every seat that you have in an arena.
And Omaha showed up. I really heard the crowd through the TV. It was quite impressive.
Yes, I mean, I don't know. You never know exactly who is buying the tickets because they buy it on the internet. You know, they sell the tickets online, but it seemed to me that a big percentage of the people in the arena were from Omaha. You're right.
Right. And what's the early projections on the pay-per-view?
We don't have them yet, but we hope to get them, next couple of days.
Okay. Take us through the fight, Bob. It seemed to be real competitive, real close. Did you see separation in Terrence Crawford, or did you see it nip and tuck? You had no idea who was up and where it was at.
Well, look at the judging. The judging I thought was excellent. The two of the judges, they were in 9 rounds, had it 5-4 for Crawford, and one judge had it 6-3 for Crawford. But the thing that's interesting is in 8 rounds, the judges all agreed. They were in total agreement.
Wow.
And 1 round, 2 of them had for Porter and 1 had for Crawford. So pretty much I saw the fight that way.
Okay. Round 10, the stoppage. That's been the topic of great conversation. What's your take on the stoppage? Now that you look back on it.
I think it was a good stoppage. I think the fight was over by the second knockdown. I think, Porter looked like he had very little left, and Crawford's a tremendous finisher.
Definitely a tremendous finisher. Did you get a chance to hear Kenny Porter's remark? Because that's the other thing that's ringing bells is Kenny Porter said, I stopped it because it was his fault in his preparation, basically.
Well, what he meant, I think, was that maybe what he meant was that Porter Sean could have prepared for a lot more action than he did. I don't know what he was referring to.
And
But by the time he got knocked down, particularly the second time, the fight essentially was over.
And the last thing on this before we move forward is Kenny Porter said he thought about stopping the fight before the fight. What was your response? Because I saw your facial reaction, but I'm very interested to hear what you thought when he said that.
Well, hey, that took me by surprise.
Right.
I thought everybody was on board and wanted that fight to take place. I mean, that came out of the blue.
Yeah. The two thoughts that I had was they had a pre-plan to come in here as soon as we don't believe we can beat them. So as soon as we see trouble, we're hitting the escape button. And obviously I know you're gonna say the fight wasn't fixed, but there is some speculation saying that the Porters had a pre-plan going in.
Yeah, I mean, the Porters are people of integrity, and I just don't think there was that kind of plan going in. But remember, Sean has a great career as a commentator.
Right.
And the one thing you don't want to happen is to him to take a beating, particularly with head punches. So he subsequently has trouble speaking.
Right.
Because if you're a commentator, you have trouble speaking, you can't commentate.
Gotcha.
So, that I'm sure that element was there.
Is Sean Porter a Hall of Famer?
That remains to be seen. I think maybe. It's sort of on the bubble.
He's on the bubble. He's definitely on the bubble, man. And maybe there will be some writers and stuff that view him as he gets in on accepting the greatest challenges and climbing the highest mountains.
No, that's true. That's true. And he's been great for the sport.
Absolutely.
He's a kid that has tremendous integrity and always gives his all.
Right.
So yeah, I would think I'd like him on the bubble could get enough support so that he goes into the Hall of Fame.
Right. Now, how would you grade Terrence Crawford's performance?
I think you saw the best Terrence Crawford.
Wow.
Real clever kind of fighter. He doesn't expose himself too much early on. It's like a guy figuring out his opponent, figuring out the vulnerabilities, and once he's got it solved, he goes for the kill.
Right.
He fights a lot. In a way, it's a lot like Lomachenko fights, probing for the key to open the lock to destroy his opponent.
Right. And post fight, that raised some eyebrows. Terrence Crawford, one of the most memorable quotes where he says, "If you couldn't get me the fights when I was with you, how are you going to get me the fights when I'm not with you?"
That certainly is something that he could say. We gave him, I think, the best fights that we could that were available. And if somebody gives him other fights, which are more lucrative, which are there, he's now a free agent and he can accept them or not. So there's no animosity on our part. We had a great ride. He's lived out his contract, and now he's free to take the best offer that's on the table.
Was there any conversation between you and Terrence after the press conference?
No, just I congratulated him on the victory.
What grade would you give yourself and your team promoting Terrence Crawford up until Saturday night and the missteps?
Again, the fighters, in order to reach a certain level of popularity, it's on them. They have to project to the public an image so the public wants to see them fight. And that means making themselves available to the various radio shows like The Breakfast Club and others, many of which we had trouble getting Terrence to do because he felt his statements would be made in the ring, and after the fights, he didn't have to do anything.
Right.
I mean, there are others that are tremendous in keeping their names before the public. Like, look at the difference with Teofimo Lopez. You can't, if there's a camera within 3 feet, he'll find it and get interviewed.
Right.
The fighters are human beings. They have different personalities.
So you would say that your team has created avenues for Terrence Crawford to promote himself, being that you are the promotional company, and he declined. Is that
and he declined? Yeah, and he not always, but sometimes, and so it was difficult for us to get the best out of Terrence, at least on the promotional level.
Now, this question, I want to ask you this. How would you grade yourself grading because Floyd Mayweather came out and said, I would love to promote him. Do you think Top Rank has I know I asked you this question before. I just want to re-ask you. You said you have Jay Prince and you have that team around you, but do you think that the infrastructure at Top Rank doesn't maximize your promotion of black athletes?
No, I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think that Floyd is an example of how he could relate to the urban market, and he did a tremendous job doing so. Now the question is, if Floyd promoted Terrence, could he have Terrence do the job that Floyd did? And that remains to be seen. I mean, there's one Floyd Mayweather.
Right.
He was very clever on how he marketed himself.
Right. How close is Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence happening?
I have absolutely no idea.
Really?
I have absolutely no idea. I mean, no. I mean, it depends. Number one, does Errol Spence want to fight him? Number one. And number two, will they agree to fight each other for purses that won't bankrupt a promoter?
Right.
This is still a business, man. If you offer them double digits, both of them, in millions, it's very hard to see in the current climate of pay-per-view how you come out.
I got that. So what would you, in your speculatory hypothesis, what is the number for, now that you don't have a horse in the race, what would be the number to get them both in the ring? A total number, 15 million?
I'm not going to 15 million each.
No, 15 million total, 20 million total salaries.
Hey, that's not an issue that I'm going to dwell on.
Got that.
Because Al Heyman may have a different idea. We know what our numbers are showing, and it's a tough sell at either 15 or 20 million.
Right, right. And are you shocked that Terrence Crawford stayed so long with Top Rank, or are you satisfied where it ended? Because it seemed like the last couple of years it's been a lot of bickering, and you compared him to a house. He stayed quiet. It seemed like there was a lot of internal struggles.
We were very anxious to sign him to a long-term contract, and in my opinion, the contract was too rich, and we guaranteed him too much money. It's not on Terrence. It's not his fault. It's on us. That's our fault. But I can tell you that it didn't work out for us. We lost money on every Crawford fight, and it is what it is. But it's not Terrence's fault. He looked to get the most possible money, and he did. And it didn't work out for us.
Got that.
But that doesn't, it may be another promoter can pay him that kind of money or more and make money doing it. I mean, that's certainly a possibility.
I totally understand where you're coming from as it pertains to the bottom line. And speaking of bottom line, I'm real interested to get your take on Canelo's guarantee and Caleb Plant's guarantee, 40 million and 10 million. So that puts the pot to 50 million. And I heard your interview say that they fibbed on the 800,000 pay-per-view buys.
No, that's not right. They didn't do close to 800. But whatever they did, they did. Canelo is a huge attraction with the Hispanics.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a terrific fighter. But no way would we have guaranteed the fighters that kind of money. Al did, and I don't know how his numbers came out, but that's part of business.
Mm-hmm.
You take a risk or you don't take a risk.
Right.
And then sometimes you take the risk and you are rewarded.
Right.
But that to me is a very, very big risk. Whether they lost or made a little bit on the fight, I don't know, nor do I care to know. But it's way too risky for us.
Right. What's the number of pay-per-views you believe? Because I know you can make a phone call and really find out the real numbers.
I don't want to answer that.
Okay, fine. Do you think Canelo's going to bankrupt boxing? Because HBO, The Zone, PBC?
No. Canelo is a great fighter and a great businessman, and he should get what anyone is willing to pay him. I mean, you can't fault him for that.
No, I'm not talking about on Canelo. So I'm talking about just the promote because I find it ironic that you're not even thinking about being in business with Canelo, and me just being pragmatic. You've been in business for 50 years, and Eddie Hearn a couple, Al Heyman maybe a decade, and you sit back and you let them take those aggressive stances towards them. And HBO has closed. He restructured his deal at the Zone, $50 million guarantee. I'm like, I think the business of boxing is miscalculating.
Well, again, nobody's putting a gun to anybody's head.
There you go.
So people make choices, and maybe the choice that somebody else, some other promotional company is making is not a choice that we would make, but that's business, man.
Right.
That's business.
Right.
I'm not saying they're wrong or we're right. No, we've made certain choices, and we're not, in certain instances, prepared to take huge risks, hoping to make small rewards.
Got that. Got that. And speaking of taking big risks, Eddie Hearn's taking a big risk with one of your fighters this weekend. What's
No,
your
he's no, he's not. He's not taking any risk at all
Hmm,
because the amount that he's going to pay the fighters, he doesn't pay,
right,
but the zone pays.
right.
So then he has his other expenses, and he has a gate against it. So he'll either make a couple of dollars or lose a couple of dollars. But there's no real economic risk on his part because obviously he wouldn't have made the bid for the fight and he wouldn't have accepted the fight after Triller defaulted if the zone didn't agree to step up to the plate and pay for the fight.
Right. Right. I totally get that. Do you think that Tiafimo is going to play the mandatory game? And with
No, he's not going to play the manager.
It-
We have an understanding
Okay.
with Tiafimo. We have a new two-year contract.
Mhm.
And after this fight, we're going to get him the best possible opponent where he can make the most possible money.
How's Tank Davis coming? You've been vocal about that this past week.
Well, I saw Leonard at the fight Saturday, Leonard at Olaby. Tank has a fight coming up shortly after Tiafimo's fight. And at a certain point, I'll sit down with them and see if we can make that fight.
Got that. Got that. What type of voodoo you got? Because Leonard Ellaby was like, I saw a Leonard Ellaby interview. You may have seen it. He says, "Oh, those boys at Top Rank, they sharp, they great businessmen." What type of? I was thinking after all y'all been through over these years, Leonard Ellaby would say that in an interview. I was rather shocked.
We've always been friends with Leonard
Uh-huh.
from the time he was with Floyd, and I think we are good businessmen.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly his senior partner, Floyd Mayweather Jr., is a terrific businessman.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't he say that?
Well, he's. I mean, they complained years ago that you wouldn't give them the Oscar fight, costing them millions of dollars and slowing down their career. And I
Well,
would.
that may very well be. But again, it takes two to tango, and Oscar wasn't necessarily looking to do that fight. He had what he believed were more lucrative fights, like the Trinidad fight and maybe the Mosley fight.
Mm-hmm.
So again, decisions are made at that time where when you look back, they may not have been the best decisions.
Right.
And when the De La Hoya fight came with Mayweather, that was a time when that fight was the best option for both guys.
Were you shocked he didn't take the rematch?
Who?
Floyd.
I wasn't involved. I just don't know. There are a lot of things that happen. There are a lot of considerations. And again, I wasn't part of that. So I don't want to talk about it because I don't know what the circumstances were.
Got that. Eddie Hearn complained about the treatment that he had in Las Vegas. You care to
what treatment?
He couldn't get a venue. He's having difficulties with basically arenas. I'm paraphrasing. and as it pertains to promoting the Devin Haney press coverage.
What was isn't he doing it in Las Vegas?
Yeah, he's doing it in Las Vegas, but he said between you and PBC, y'all are doing a doozy on him in terms of making it hard on him.
That's ridiculous. Isn't that stupid? Isn't that stupid? If Al has a fight at one of the MGM properties, or we have a fight at one of the MGM properties, it's always been like a 2-week window or so before you can go. So I think he's doing the Devin Haney fight where at the MGM Grand.
Oh yeah,
So
yes.
So what is he talking about? What is he talking about? I mean, certainly we're not freezing him out. Al isn't freezing him out. You know, he's a guy that's in this market in the United States, which he still doesn't really know. He really doesn't understand the U.S. market, but that's on him.
Is he? Sometimes I look at Eddie Hearn and I don't mind saying this. I just think he's just stupid sometimes.
He's not stupid, but he has diarrhea of the mouth. He doesn't think before he talks.
Yeah.
So, that doesn't help him, doesn't help his relationships with other promoters. This doesn't help him at all. Doesn't help. I never heard him say anything about freezing out and venues and so forth. If he said that, how's it going to make MGM feel?
Right.
How's it going to make some of the other venues in Las Vegas? They're going to say, hey, we don't want to deal with this guy who is dissing us. Why would he say that?
Right. I get that. Tyson Fury, speaking of the UK, well, he said February, March, 100%. True, false?
Absolutely true.
Who's he going
Absolutely true.
Who's he going to fight?
You
got to make some money. You got to make some money, Bob. Who he going to fight? You got to take him.
Well, if Joshua steps aside, which I doubt, and allows Usyk to fight Tyson, that's the fight we'll do. But Usyk is out legally bound to fight Joshua in a rematch. That's the contract. So if Joshua doesn't step aside, which looks to me like he won't, then Tyson Fury will fight the next available contender, either Dylan White or Joe Joyce. And I want that fight to be co-promoted by us and Frank Warren's Queensberry in the UK, because Tyson's had his last 5 fights in the United States, and it's time he came home and we did a big fight for him in the UK.
Is that code word time we make some money outside of Deontay Wilder? Is that
what's that?
I'm talking about Tyson Fury being profitable. Was he profitable in America?
Yeah,
he was.
He was.
Okay.
The Fury Wilder fights were profitable.
Right.
The 2 fights before that we
Schwartz.
lost a little money.
Yeah, Schwartz and Wallin. Yeah.
Schwartz and the Swedish guy. And it is what it is. And if we do the fight in the UK, it hopefully will be a profitable fight.
Right. Was your heart in your throat when Fury got cut? Because the telecast went into a complete panic. Everybody on that telecast was like scared to death.
You mean the other Wallen?
Yeah, when he got cut in the forehead or in the eye or
Yeah,
something.
when they called it a punch.
Yeah.
See, nobody was panicked because we thought it was a headbutt, but we were quickly informed that it occurred from a punch, which meant that if they stopped the fight, he would have lost his title.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he wasn't the champion then.
Yeah.
He would have just lost the fight.
Yeah, he would have lost the fight. And that basically would have changed the dynamics.
Yeah, definitely.
Moving forward. Shakur Stevenson, what's next for him? He's been very vocal, Bob. He wants Oscar Valdez.
Well, he can want, but Oscar Valdez has a say in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's more likely that Oscar Valdez first will fight the featherweight champion, Navarrete.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge fight. And we'll get Shakur another fight. The fight I'd like to see Shakur fight is with Lomachenko. If Lomachenko is successful on December 11th.
Lomachenko? I like that fight. Two softballs.
Yeah.
I really like that fight, Bob. One might
So
ask,
does everybody.
before you answer, are you protecting Oscar Valdez?
No, for Christ's sake.
Gotta ask,
Oscar
Bob.
Oscar Valdez fighting the featherweight champion is no protection. Oscar Valdez fighting Burchell, who everybody figured was going to knock him out because he's such a big puncher, was not protecting Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
He's fighting fights that mean something, particularly in the Hispanic community.
Mm-hmm. Got you. So it's obviously so that would be a great business move prior to making the right move.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, if Valdez beats Navarrete and Shakur goes and fights Lomachenko, a Shakur Valdez fight, whether Shakur wins or loses with Lomachenko, would be a big attraction.
Right. What will be the turnaround? Because I know you always a year in advance. What will be the turnaround for Shakur and Lomachenko? Are you going to announce that fight in a couple of weeks that night?
No, I haven't. He has a good manager in James Prince, and Prince will be in New York because Jared Anderson is the semi wind-up on that card. Jared's a tremendous prospect at heavyweight. And I'll be talking to Prince, and I'll see if they like the Lomachenko fight. And I'd love to do it.
How about Teofimo and Shakur? Would you do that to squeeze Teofimo down for one more fight at 35, or would you say, nah, no?
No, that truth to be told, that's the first time I've heard of that pairing. I think Teofimo would stay at 135 for Tank Davis or maybe Haney. If not, he would look to go to 140. Right.
And Josh Taylor still fighting Cantrell. Is that the plan? And when is that?
Cantrell. Yeah, that's a fight that we had to make because it's one of these mandatories.
Right.
And it's a big fight over there because Cantrell is also undefeated.
Right. I get that. But I mean, Don King is back in business, man. He got the cruiserweight. Canelo's going up the cruiserweight. Don King is back in business. How do you take that? That your buddy's back.
I love it. Don King rides again. That's terrific.
What you make of that fight? Cruiserweight Canelo against the WBC champ.
Tell you the truth, I never heard of this guy. I don't know how he fights. I just don't know. All I know is Canelo is a tremendous fighter, maybe the best around. And, It's a big jump up in weight, but if anybody can do it, it's Canelo. But I
Right.
can't tell you anything about the opponent because I've never even heard of him, no less seen him fight.
Right. What's your take, Charles Martin, Luis Ortiz, PBC putting that on pay-per-view on January 1st?
Well, it's a little stretch to put it on pay-per-view, but it's all heavyweight shows. I think that Ortiz blasts Martin out, but I could be right, it could be wrong, but it's a decent fight, and they have this Sanchez kid on the Cuban kid
Right.
on the card. It's a very good fight.
Right. Do you sit back and smirk at this being on pay-per-view and be like, my business plan is the ultimate business plan? Being that they
No. Hey, I respect people who know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And Al Heyman knows what he's doing.
Got that.
So he feels that this fight, that heavyweight show, belongs on pay-per-view. He can do better with it on pay-per-view than on regular free television. And it's risk reward.
Got that.
And I'm not going to second guess him that he shouldn't take the risk because he knows what he's doing. And I wish him the best.
Yeah. I actually smirked at that because I don't know how you can compete against the Rose Bowl and full bellies and hangovers. You know what I mean? I don't know how you compete with college football on January 1st. I find telling people to pay money on January 1st when they've been doing the same entertainment series for 40 years, their whole life.
Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
I hear what you're saying,
Uh-huh.
but he believes otherwise, and he's nobody's fool.
Right.
So maybe he turns out to be right,
Mm-hmm.
that there are so many people at home looking for something to watch. And even though football is such a popular sport, not everybody likes football.
Right. Jerron Ennis, do you plan on making a run at Jerron?
Well, if the time, he appears to be an excellent fighter. And if he fits in to what we're doing and we can make a good fight for him, we'd be happy to use him and to feature him on ESPN. But that's all I can say. I haven't talked to the kid. I did meet the father at one of our fights a number of months ago. He seemed like a nice fellow. But he's certainly an excellent fighter and a big prospect. And the welterweight division has a lot of good prospects, like Ennis, like this Ortiz kid. So, there's always, it's like a river.
Right.
It just keeps on rolling along.
Right.
And it keeps sending us great fighters. Now, as you know, we've signed all 5 U.S. Olympians from the last Olympics, and we believe we've got the future to a great extent of boxing in their careers.
Right. Yeah, that was quite impressive. You signed the 5 Olympians, and congratulations to you in Top Rank.
Right, thank you.
I was really shocked. I was like, that's really impressive that y'all got those inroads to actually get those prospects.
Yeah.
I want to ask you this. When you look back at Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao, do you wish you would have started fighting them sooner, maybe got 3 fights out the deal, being that they did over 4 million buys?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But again, never look back, and it's like crying over spilt milk. Looking back, what if we had done this? What if we had said that? That train has left the station.
I respect
I
that.
was happy at least we got one fight out of it. It was a massive pay-per-view fight. Would it have been better if we had gotten 3 fights out of it? Absolutely. But it is what it is, and we're grateful for what we got.
Yeah, the reason why I asked is because Crawford-Spence is coming up on them mid to early 30s, and I'm like, maybe they should have started that series a little bit sooner. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't think you can blame us, but it is what it is. Let's not look back. Let's look forward.
Okay. Speaking of looking forward, man, number 1 versus number 2 is coming to Las Vegas. UCLA and Gonzaga.
Yeah, Coach K is a very good friend of mine. Really good personal friend. Mike and I have been friendly for a number of years. Duke has a real tough order playing against Gonzaga. I mean, they're loaded. Gonzaga's loaded.
Right.
But
right.
yeah, I mean, that's a terrific match.
What's your biggest accolade in terms of promoting? You've gotten every award, but when you look back at it, what's the one moment that really stands out to you?
Oh, there's so many. There's no one moment. But a lot of it would revolve around the 4 Kings, the fights I did with those 4 guys. Tommy got in the ring Saturday. I got a kick out of it. Can't believe he was once a welterweight.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and of course, is the night that Foreman knocked out Michael Moore to win the heavyweight championship, and a number of the great fights I did with Muhammad Ali. So there've been, so many great moments, and I love looking. I say don't look back, look forward, but I love looking back at those instances.
What fighter would you say left a lot of potential, didn't really fulfill his potential, and you wanted more for him, and he didn't give it to you?
Donald Curry.
I
thought Curry could have surpassed even Sugar Ray Leonard because he had such unbelievable ability, but people got to him, they talked crap to him, and he lost concentration, and he got beat by Lloyd Hannigan. Who was, just a Brit that was just an ordinary fight. And then later on, fought Mike McCallum, who knocked him out.
Who matched you wit for wit in terms of making a deal? Like when you went to make a fight, you was like, man, I got to bring my lunch pail to negotiate with this man or woman.
I don't know. I mean, a lot of people you can negotiate takes an hour, and some people take a month.
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to signal anybody out. It's the style of negotiation.
Got that. And Deontay Wilder, man, what's your thoughts on Deontay Wilder now? Now that you've seen him twice, he's given the sport everything. I'm not speaking in terms of him retiring, but now that you look back on those 2 fights with Deontay Wilder, what's your take on him?
I think he has a lot to offer, and I think he'll beat most of the heavyweights around. So, and he's very entertaining, and I hope he continues fighting.
Final question before we get out of here, Bob. Is it money or the power? Which is most important as a promoter?
It's neither. It's just having a good time doing what I'm doing. I don't want to lose money, but I'm not obsessed with making, bundles of money. But I don't want to lose what I have. And I don't care about the power at all. I never have and never will.
Is being frugal, being disciplined, and not reaching. Is that the key to longevity?
I think that's part of the key. Yeah,
Mm,
that's why I've stayed around as
right.
long as I have. I mean, if I was a big plunger and I plunge too often, sometime it's not going to work out, and you hit a couple of bad shows where you lose a lot of money, you can get wiped out. Of
Right.
course, we
Right.
have, people in the office here, whole financials there
Mm-hmm.
that keeps us in check.
Okay, got it. What was your biggest reach, and what was your biggest loss in terms of shows?
Trying to think, but they've been big ones. When we
Well,
lost,
go ahead.
a lot of money, a lot of money. Again, because at my age, if you ask me about a fight and a great fight, I can remember. If you ask me about a fight that I did where I lost a lot of money, I somehow can't remember. That's part of a selective memory.
Yeah, I totally appreciate it, and I totally appreciate you remembering me and calling me back, and because I tell people you're my favorite person to interview, man. You really are, and I want to say thank you.
I enjoyed talking to you, and I want to wish all your listeners a very, very good Thanksgiving. We're all blessed to be living in the United States of America.
Yeah, and will the Giants upset the Buccaneers tonight?
Well, that's what I'm getting ready.
I know. That's
why
I'm looking at the time now. And Bob, I appreciate you, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah. All right.
Appreciate
Okay, good talking.
Thank you, Bob.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Appreciate you, man. Barbershop conversations, man. I totally appreciate y'all. And like I said, I always say Bob is I love that intellectual ping pong with Bob Arum. I got to find the right word to get the answer. You know what I mean? And it's real fun. And Barbershop conversations. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. Again, I say congratulations, Terrence Crawford. Happy retirement, Sean Porter. And we will be in the shop tonight, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Sunday through Thursday. I got to start saying Sunday through Thursday because sometimes y'all don't watch the videos the same day. Sunday to Thursday, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We live in the shop. We have Marvin Hagler's grandson coming in Wednesday. That should be fun. And that'll do it. So Barbershop Conversations. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. Click the link below. 9 Wives. Incredible film. World renowned, award winning, everything. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace, guys.